For the longest time, building a website and trying to get people to find it, it felt a bit like setting up a storefront on a really straightforward, busy highway.
Yeah, a highly predictable transaction, really.
Exactly. You'd paint this giant, bright billboard, point it squarely at the oncoming traffic, which, let's be honest, basically just Google, and you just wait for people to drive by.
Right. You optimize your keywords, the single algorithm crawls your site, and bam, you get a steady stream of traffic. But looking at the SEO Daily Technology Report from July 23, 2026, that clean highway has fundamentally fractured.
It really has.
I mean, we are looking at this chaotic, multi-level interchange where the old playbook isn't just outdated, it's practically a liability.
And that structural collapse is exactly what we are unpacking for you in this deep dive. Our mission here is to take the highly detailed data from this July 23, 2026 report and figure out how search, discovery, and, well, digital traffic have completely mutated.
Because the billboard fell down.
Totally. The internet's front door is no longer just one search box. Like if we look at Google's major AI overviews update from this specific date, the interface itself has morphed into a generative engine.
It's a massive overhaul of how information is presented. The July 23, 2026 update didn't just tweak the algorithm, It completely restructured the results page.
Right, we're seeing some wild new features.
Yeah, we are now seeing a live news carousel embedded directly into generative answers, plus AI-created imagery that pulls context from multiple sources simultaneously and highly enhanced citation displays.
I want to pause on that live news carousel, actually, because from a publisher's perspective, that feels like a radical shift in how we think about shelf life.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you are a content creator who just spent 3 weeks writing this masterclass evergreen article, but the AI is prioritizing real-time, well-sourced reporting and a live carousel, where does that leave your business? It seems like Google is rewarding velocity over, traditional long-form optimization.
That is a really critical observation. Early generative AI models, they really struggled with real-time accuracy, which we obviously called hallucinations.
Right, the infamous hallucinations.
Exactly. So to combat that liability, Google's 2026 architecture strongly anchors its answers to breaking authenticated news. But the truly game-changing element for anyone managing a website right now is what happened quietly on the back end.
You mean with Google Search Console?
Yes, they finally rolled out tools that take AI overviews out of the dark.
Which changes everything about how practitioners do their jobs. For the last couple of years, appearing in an AI overview felt like a total black box.
You either showed up or you didn't.
Yeah, and if your boss asked why, you just kind of shrugged.
Yeah.
But now, according to the report, it is a trackable, manageable metric. Site owners can actually see the impressions and clicks coming specifically from generative responses.
Having that visibility is crucial. But optimizing for Google's AI is really only a fraction of the battle in 2026. The report makes it painfully clear that we have officially entered the era of multi-engine SEO.
Yeah.
The concept of a search monopoly is just over.
This is the part of the report that really blew my mind. ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, they are no longer just chatbots you use to write emails,
No, there are massive referral traffic drivers now.
Exactly. The data indicates that if you are only optimizing your content for Google, you are missing essentially half of the entire AI-driven discovery ecosystem.
And the trick is you can't just apply a blanket strategy across all of them. The underlying training models for these engines are different.
Meaning they value different things.
Right. They value different types of information. They each have distinct citation algorithms, different personalities, really. And that dictates how they crawl the web and what they surface to users.
It feels like we used to just paint that one giant billboard on the Google highway, but now we have to pitch our content to completely different talk show hosts.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Like, Perplexity is the hard-hitting investigative journalist. It demands clear citations, recent sources, verifiable data. If you don't have receipts, Perplexity isn't putting you on air.
Right, they want the proof.
But Claude operates more like a philosophy professor. It favors nuanced, well-reasoned content that explores the gray areas of a topic.
That analogy holds up incredibly well when you look at the mechanics. And to add to your lineup, ChatGPT favors conversational depth and relies heavily on structured authority signals.
So it's incredibly fragmented.
Extremely. Because of this fragmentation, a practitioner can't just log into one analytics dashboard anymore. We are seeing the rise of specialized multi-engine tracking platforms.
Like Trackings.ai and Athena HQ, right?
Exactly. Their entire purpose is to monitor your brand's visibility across this scattered landscape of AI assistants.
But knowing where we stand is only half the battle. If we have to pitch to all these different AI talk show hosts, how do we actually hand them our script? Like, how do we ensure they even understand what we are talking about?
Well, the July 23, 2026 report points to GEO.
Generative Engine Optimization.
Yes, GEO is the answer. It has officially leaped from a fringe experiment to the mainstream standard. It is the new baseline of digital communication.
And what's the biggest shift there?
The most concrete mechanical shift we're seeing is the rapid adoption of the llms.txt file.
Okay, wait.
We're looking at a 5 to 15% adoption rate among major websites right now.
Let's break that down for the listener, because it honestly sounds like just another technical chore. What is an llms.txt file actually doing?
So to understand it, look at the past. For decades, websites used a file called robots.txt.
Right, a digital keep-out sign.
Exactly. Its primary function was restrictive, telling search engine crawlers which pages to ignore, like login screens. The llms.txt file, which sits right alongside your XML sitemaps, serves the exact opposite purpose.
So it's welcoming them in.
Highly proactive. It is a plain text map specifically formatted for large language models. It tells the AI, here are my core arguments, here's my most important data, and here's how my concepts connect.
Oh, wow. So instead of making the AI guess what the most important part of your 5,000-word article is, you're essentially handing it a pre-highlighted study guide.
Precisely. You are reducing the computational friction for the AI. And the early adopters who implemented this in the first quarter of 2026 are already experiencing compound traffic gains.
From places like ChatGPT and Gemini.
Yep. But GEO doesn't stop at text files. It relies heavily on schema markup and entity SEO.
Schema markup is one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot. Mechanically, how is this functioning in a generative landscape?
Think of schema, specifically JSON LD formatting, as wrapping your content in a digital label maker. An AI doesn't read a page and intuitively understand that a specific string of text is a price or an author's name.
Right, it just sees text.
Exactly. JSON LD explicitly labels those entities. When you define an entity, you are giving the machine a concrete node of information that it can confidently use in a generative response.
Which explains a really surprising trend in the report. FAQ schema is surging again.
It really is.
A few years ago, SEOs abused FAQ schema to try and hog visual space on Google results pages, and Google basically cracked down on it. But now it's back.
But not for visual real estate this time.
Right, because a well-structured question and answer format is incredibly easy for an AI assistant to extract and serve directly to a user in a chat interface.
It is the path of least resistance for a chatbot. You are basically pre-packaging the insight for them.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second. If I am spending my entire week formatting JSON LD entity definitions, curating my llms.txt file, and pre-packaging my insights into neat little chatbot boxes, does this fundamentally change who we are writing for?
What do you mean?
I mean, are we officially creating websites for bots first and human beings second?
I'd actually argue it is the exact opposite. And that brings us to the ultimate paradox of the July 23, 2026 ecosystem.
All right, cheers.
To win over these highly advanced, deeply analytical bots, you have to aggressively prove your human credibility.
The bouncer analogy comes to mind here.
Let's hear it.
We've spent a decade obsessing over keywords and technical formatting, essentially dressing up in the perfect digital outfit. But now, these AI bots act like high-end club bouncers.
Oh, I like that.
They do not care how nice your JSON LD shoes are.
Yeah.
They want to see your real-world ID. They want to know your history, who you associate with, and if you have actual authority in the space.
And that concept is quantified in what the industry calls EEAT. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
Right, EEAT.
For years, this was just a soft guideline from Google, a recommendation for good content. Today, it is a hard, heavily weighted algorithmic signal. The machines are actively hunting for human footprints.
And the stakes are highest for what the industry calls YMYL topics, your money or your life, like medical advice or financial investments.
Exactly. The AI is terrified of giving a wrong answer for those.
Because the liability of hallucinating a bad medical recommendation is catastrophic for a generative AI platform.
It really is.
Right.
Therefore, the engine relies heavily on recognized human authority to mitigate its own risk. The report explicitly states that AI overviews are more aggressive than traditional search algorithms in rewarding EEAT.
So it favors big brands.
An established brand with real-world subject matter expertise will consistently outrank a lesser-known page, even if that lesser-known page has perfect technical optimization and a flawless llms.txt file.
So how does a listener actually prove that human credibility to a machine? That sounds a bit abstract.
It requires a fundamental shift in daily operations. The new SEO mandate isn't just tweaking metadata anymore, it requires deep investment in digital PR.
Like getting real press mentions.
Yes, the algorithms are looking for genuine press mentions, citations from academic or industry authorities, and verifiable authorship.
So if an AI reads an article about complex tax law,
It wants to cross-reference the author's name and see that they hold a CPA, speak at finance conferences, and have been quoted in major financial publications. You have to actually be an expert, not just play one on a blog.
that is a fascinating contradiction.
Yeah.
But to build that complex web of human authority while simultaneously structuring massive amounts of entity data for the AI crawlers, a normal person cannot do this manually in a spreadsheet anymore.
No, definitely not.
Practitioners need incredibly powerful dashboards. Let's look at how the legacy tools have evolved to handle this 2026 reality.
They've had to adapt completely or face total obsolescence. The days of a tool simply spitting out a list of keyword search volumes are over.
Right. Let's look at Semrush, which is still a dominant all-in-one platform.
They recently launched Semrush One, which unifies traditional web search data, AI search visibility tracking, and those generative engine optimization capabilities we just discussed.
The major addition there is their AI copilot, right?
Yeah.
It isn't just a dashboard you stare at.
Exactly. The copilot actively interprets the incoming data, identifies anomalies, and suggests strategic actions. It changes the practitioner's role from a data gatherer to an editor of automated strategies.
And then you have Surfer SEO, which has historically dominated on-page optimization.
Yeah, and in a world where AI can write a 2,000-word article in 3 seconds, raw content generation is just table stakes.
So where's the value?
The real value is in semantic depth. Surfer's natural language processing algorithms analyze the top-ranking pages across multiple engines and provide what are called semantic gap recommendations.
Let's explain semantic gaps, because that is a vital concept for you listening. If you write an article about, say, brewing espresso, a semantic gap recommendation isn't just telling you to use the word coffee more often.
Correct. The tool's AI reads the top-performing content and maps the underlying concepts. It might tell you every authoritative article on espresso discusses water temperature stability and barometric pressure. Your article does not.
Oh, so it finds the missing concepts.
Yes, it identifies the missing nodes of information that the search engines consider essential to fully satisfying a user's query. Surfer also added a specific AI overview gap analysis, explicitly showing you how to reformat your text to get pulled into those generative answers.
That's incredibly powerful. But what about the technical backbone? We still have to make sure the websites actually function.
Oh, for raw technical data, Ahrefs and Screaming Frog remain the industry standards, but they have fundamentally changed how they present that data.
How so?
Well, Ahrefs is tracking backlink intelligence, which sites are linking to which, and updating their index for top domains every 15 to 30 minutes.
That velocity is incredible, every 15 minutes.
It is, but humans can't process data that fast, so Ahrefs integrated an AI-assisted site explorer that automatically identifies link velocity anomalies.
So it does the heavy lifting.
Right, it spots toxic link patterns or sudden competitor spikes without the user having to manually run a report. Similarly, Screaming Frog, which is a desktop crawler vital for auditing things like JavaScript rendering and core web vitals, now uses AI to prioritize the errors it finds.
Let's touch on those technical terms real quick. JavaScript rendering and core web vitals are essentially the health checks of a website, right?
Yeah, think of core web vitals like the health inspection rating of a physical restaurant. Is the door easy to open? Do the lights flicker?
Does the page load fast? Does it jump around when you try to click a button?
Exactly. If the user experience is poor, the AI won't send traffic there. And JavaScript rendering is about ensuring the bots can actually see the content you built, especially if your site relies on heavy dynamic code.
Makes sense.
Screaming Frog used to just hand you a massive spreadsheet of thousands of technical errors. Now, the AI analyzes those errors and prioritizes them based on potential traffic ROI. It tells you exactly which broken link or slow script is costing you the most money.
Okay, I am spotting a clear trend across Semrush, Surfer, Ahrefs, and Screaming Frog.
Hmm.
Every single one of these legacy tools has bolted on an AI copilot or an automated insight engine,
They had to.
which brings me to a major concern. Are digital marketers and SEO professionals in 2026 just becoming passive managers of AI dashboards? Like, are we losing the active strategic element of the job?
It's a really valid anxiety, honestly. But the July 23 report shows the industry is pushing even further past passive dashboards.
Further past.
Yeah, we are entering a phase where you don't even manage the dashboard. The software takes action on its own. This is the rise of a brand new software category called agentic SEO.
Agentic meaning autonomous agents. So these aren't just calculators, they are acting like junior employees.
Exactly. Look at a platform like Airtop. It monitors your rankings, tracks competitor movements, and identifies content opportunities in real time.
So you aren't logging in every morning to check a graph.
Nope. The agent watches the multi-engine ecosystem 24/7 and proactively alerts you when a strategic move is required.
Wow. And then there's AirOps, which the report highlights as the leader in multi-model automation. It doesn't just monitor, it executes.
Right. It can integrate ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini to run your entire workflow.
It identifies a keyword gap, generates the outline, writes the draft, optimizes the semantic gaps, and publishes the content at scale. Or Koala AI, which bundles the entire lifecycle writing, chatbots, image generation into one autonomous workspace.
This is the transition from cruise control to a fully self-driving vehicle. You, the human, are setting the guardrails and defining the business goals.
But the agentic AI is executing the daily operational strategy at a speed no human team could match.
Exactly.
But philosophically and competitively, I have to push back on this. If we all have self-driving cars, how do I win a race?
That's the big question.
Right. If you, me, and our competitors down the street are all licensing the exact same agentic SEO platforms like AirOps or Airtop, and our bots are optimizing against each other at lightning speed, where's the competitive advantage? Technical perfection just becomes a baseline commodity.
You've hit on the most crucial insight of this entire deep dive. When the machines are doing all the heavy technical lifting, when every website has a flawless llms.txt file, perfect JSON LD schema, and AI-optimized semantic depth, the technical execution is no longer a differentiator.
It zeroes out.
It completely zeroes out.
So what is left? If the technology cancels itself out, how does a listener actually grow their traffic in 2026?
It brings us right back to EEAT. Genuine human expertise and unshakable brand authority.
The tiebreaker.
Exactly. If your AI agent and my AI agent write two perfectly optimized articles on the exact same topic, the multi-engine algorithms, whether that's Google's AI Overviews, Perplexity, or Claude, have to break the tie.
And they do that by looking at the real world.
Yes. Who published this?
Right.
Which author has spent 10 years in the industry? Who has genuine press mentions and offline credibility? The entity that humans actually trust is the entity the machine will recommend.
So to synthesize all of this for you listening, the digital landscape, as defined by this highly specific July 23, 2026 report, requires a relentless dual approach.
Very much so.
On the back end, you have to be hyper-structured. You need to speak the machine's language fluently through Generative Engine Optimization, proactive llms.txt maps, and agentic workflows. You have to feed the bots exactly what they want.
But on the front end, in your actual business operations, you have to be deeply, authentically human. You have to build real-world expertise and cultivate trust.
Because in a sea of automated perfection, human credibility is the only signal the machines still value.
It is an incredibly complex paradox. We are building machines that are desperately trying to identify what is most human.
Which leaves us with a bit of a mind bender to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
If you think about the life cycle we just described, an agentic AI platform identifies the topic and routes the content. A multi-engine AI crawler discovers and reads that content via an llms.txt file. And finally, an AI overview interface summarizes that content for the end user.
Right.
In that entire chain of digital discovery, what is the actual product being consumed? And is human even in the loop anymore? When the storefront shatters into a kaleidoscope, maybe the only thing that really matters is proving you are the real person standing on the other side of the glass. Think about it.